Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the greatest day of your life. So we've been doing this for 9 months, and I got to tell you, over the course of my life, I've seen a pattern where people have multiplied their income, began to develop new, better relationships. They live in healthier bodies because they're taking care of themselves as a part of their success strategy. They don't eat out, they exercise, they try to eat quality ingredients, the best they can afford, and then they build thriving businesses. And I've seen this all happen. It all results from the types of recommendations that I've been making in these videos for you every day for the last 9 months. So we've gotten to a point where today we're going to do an unboxing ceremony. Now, I'm not going to do a big celebration video or anything like that. I don't think that's what you want to watch. But Doug Vandergraff actually got a YouTube award, a silver button, for garnering 100,000 subscribers. And I want to thank you for joining me, and I appreciate the success. The goal here is to help one person, and if I help more than that, I just exceeded my goal, and that's fantastic. I just want to see people do better. And over the years, without exception, I've found that 5% of a person's success has to do with strategy and plans, but the remaining 95% has to do with their mindset. It's 100% true. You see, this is what accounts for why ordinary people often achieve extraordinary success, and brilliant people can struggle to make things happen. You see, you could be the smartest person in town and have a solid strategy for reaching a goal, but if you have the wrong mindset, not much is going to happen. You see, what I call it an attitude of average. And we're all creatures of habit, right? You'll see this in many simple ways, such as the type and number of restaurants we frequent, the people we spend time with, or as complex as the companion we choose for our life circumstance. You see, we often decide to change our patterns only when we find ourselves sliding back into them shortly afterwards. And that's a real problem because you see, real change requires strong and continued commitment. We know that as we've been working together, right? But there is absolutely an undisputed link between commitment and reward. You see, big goals demand big effort. And if the effort is average, then your reward will be too. I'm sure you've heard big risk, big reward. Well, people don't say that because it's not somewhat true. You see, most of us carry around an attitude of average, and that can scare us a little bit, taking the big risk. But you see, a lot of people view their lifestyle as being within a range of what's comfortable and comparable to their friends, neighbors, parents, and other family members. You see, but what it really means is that they're limiting ourselves by comparing themselves to other people. I've said many times, you're the summation of the 5 people you spend the majority of your time with. What are their attitudes? How do they live? They live in a dirty house? Are they unhappy with their job? Do they pay their bills on time? You see, these are the types of attitudes and mindsets that can impact us whether we want it to or not. We're creatures of habit, and we develop those habits based on monkey see, monkey do type of mentality. You know what I'm talking about. And you see, we need to create within our mind an idea of what's obtainable rather than what's possible. So when we set goals, we start out deciding what we know we can do or get, and then take steps to achieve that limited goal. Many people do that. You see, a good example would be if you look at your bank account and income statements of what you earned last year. Now that represents what you know you can earn. But you might decide to stretch a little, say 5 or 10% to what you think you can earn, and then set your goal there. But the problem is, not that you can't meet that 5 or 10%, because you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, anybody probably could, and that's the problem. The goal is too limited to begin with. Instead of contemplating what you really want, you force yourself into a series of small steps to reach what you think you can achieve. And since these are small goals, they require small efforts and don't really move you forward. But I tell you what, there is a way that you can break from that habit and create a mindset that alters the course of your life. Now, our Buckminster Fuller once said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you must build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." There's a lot of truth to that, isn't there? And you see, if you're not trying something right now that you have no idea how to achieve, it's time to create a new model. You see, instead of making incremental improvements, take a totally new approach by conducting a big and bold experiment. And conducting an experiment can change your mindset because it's not based on what you've done before. It's try something new, where boundaries of what's possible have been expanded. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about how you can create and build a new model. The first thing I want you to do when you're trying to build a new model to expand your horizons and build yourself into a bigger version, think about a goal that really excites you. So in other words, what is something that would be motivating, fascinating, and stimulating to attempt? Think about how you would feel if you reach that goal. Then, I want you to set a 3-month timeline. You know, the pressure of a timeline will create flow, deep creativity, and will also push you with a sense of urgency. Now that you have that set, focus on who, not how. Think about who you could collaborate with to help you reach or exceed your goal. You see, who could help you fast track your results? Who could you involve that would take this experiment beyond where you've currently imagined it can go? You know, look for people who push you past your limited ways of thinking. And moreover, trying to do everything by yourself can lead at times to procrastination, which in turn will derive failure. And do something that moves you closer every single day. You're waking up each morning, you're writing down your goal at the top of a piece of paper. Then you're laying out 20 things you can do over the next 24 hours to help you move closer to that goal. And I think that's a wonderful thing to do. There are some other options as well. If early in the mornings aren't working for you, maybe every night during this experiment, you list 1 to 3 things you will do the next day to move you closer to your goal. You see, if you don't have it on your calendar, it's not going to get done. And if it's not on your calendar and you put first things first, you'll be stunned by how much you do get done in a single day. By laying it out and laying out a plan saying, hey, tonight, I'm going to write down 1 to 3 things that I'm going to do the next day. Those 1 to 3 things need to go on your calendar, and you need to complete those tasks. You can do the same thing if you're waking up in the morning and writing your goal at the top of the paper and laying out 20 steps you can take over the next 24 hours or 20 activities you can accomplish over the next 24 hours to move you closer to your goal. Lay those things out in your calendar so you don't forget them and they get done, because you know what's going to make you successful and help you to achieve your goal. It's not going to be writing things down on a piece of paper. It's not even going to be the putting it in your calendar. It's going to be the action you take on each of those items. That's what's going to move you forward. You see, think of it this way. Changing your mindset is sort of like a train that creates a tremendous amount of momentum to keep moving along the same track. It takes an unusual and unexpected force to redirect that train once it gets going, right? And you see, that's why without change in some form, we are so likely to simply continue on the same path. You see, your current habits are a representation in that train, and you're currently on a path, a track, and you're doing the same things over and over again, getting the exact same results. Have you ever seen people, they always seem to have trouble making their payments each month? It's a constant thing. It's continuous. Could they plan better to move forward to be able to make those payments? They could, and they could change their mindset, which would then change their habits and their activities so they start to pay bills on time. Maybe they start start to focus on a debt consolidation plan if they need that. Or maybe they find ways to make more money so they can alleviate the debt in the first place. And you see, there probably have been times in your life when you've decided to make a change. And maybe it was to get in shape. It was the beginning of the year here not too long ago. So I went out to Horsetooth Lake here in Colorado, and I saw the parking lots were fuller than ever before. And I saw more people than I think I've ever seen out jogging around the lake. Some were walking, some were jogging. And I got to think, wow, it's really great to see all these Colorado people out here getting exercise. And then I remembered it's the beginning of the year. It's a time when people attempt to make change. Now, a few months from now, I'll probably go back to Horsetooth Lake. There'll be less cars. And then I'll go back again a few months after that. It'll probably be back to where it was before. You see, most of those people, though they had good intentions, will make a change and go back, slide back into their old habits, because that's their comfort zone. That's what I'm talking about, making a permanent change to. We can decide to set goals. We can build a beautiful life. But if we roll back into old attitudes and habits, it can ruin us. Think of it this way, and we've all heard this. Lottery winners usually end up being broke within a few years after winning the lottery. And here's why. Because this has changed, but this has not. So now they have more money, but they have the old habits, the old attitudes, the old ways of approaching things. So as they have not made a change here, this goes away. They'll never hang on to this. You can't just blow your money. You've got to come up with strategies to build an effective investment approach. You've got to create additional streams of income, because that lottery money's not gonna make interest payments forever, right? So we always have to change this in order to continue to live this beautiful life that we're trying to live. And the thing is, if you want to establish something that's going to last in your life, you need to feel committed. And the problem is a lot of people get committed, then 6 weeks later they realize that they have to let the idea slip away because they've fallen back into old habits, and it's these old mindsets, these old beliefs that are so ingrained. Deciding we want to change often isn't enough. And while it may not be completely natural at first, anyone can begin to create a success or growth-oriented mindset and live a meaningful and fulfilling life by taking consistent action. Now, while you may think the experiment that I've laid out for you it is a good idea, I want you to know that research shows there's only a 10% chance that you'll actually make a change. However, if you set a specific time to share your progress with somebody else, you have a 95% chance of change. And this illustrates how powerful it is to be accountable to someone. Accountability greatly increases your chances of doing what you say you're going to do. And this might be some of the magic around being good to your family, because if you're good to your spouse and your children, you're treating them well, you're involving them in your life, obviously they go everywhere with you that you can take them. I've always felt if I have to go somewhere where my family isn't allowed to be, then I probably don't need to be there. And I've done that in business over the years. I can't tell you how many boardrooms and executive meetings I've been in where I brought my spouse and my children. We're a family unit. We work together. Everything that I do impacts them directly, just like everything they do impacts me. So I am accountable to them. They know all of the things that I'm doing in my life. They know what goals I've set, what I've promised to complete. So how would it look if I stepped back and didn't follow through? I'm trying to be a good parent, a good father, and an excellent husband. I want to show follow through. I want to show commitment, and I want to teach that to my spouse and my children. I can tell you, I'm sure they have that down at this point in time. But it is so helpful, like I'm saying here, to work with a coach, a mentor, or somebody really close to you that you can be honest to, that will give you honest feedback that you can accept and take action on. And that's really important, because you see, when you have somebody like that in your life, they're going to hold you to your word and ask you hard questions. And if you aren't measuring up to your own expectations, they're going to hold you accountable to that. And if you can't work with somebody like that, or you don't have somebody in your life right now that you can trust, with your dreams and goals that's going to help you to facilitate activity around accomplishing them, then I encourage you to seek out the support of a mastermind group, which is a group of individuals who have similar goals. You see, sharing your progress and getting support from a mastermind group can mean the difference between you succeeding or having a setback, and then another setback, and then another setback, until you're right back where you started from and what you were trying to change from in the first place. Now, I say mastermind group. You can find support groups anywhere. If it's you want to start a business, there's entrepreneurial groups. Whatever it is you want to do, you can usually go out on social media or on the internet, find a local group who's attempting to accomplish the same things you are. You see, we're not always that unique. Although our goals and our dreams are specific to us, there are many out there who can share them, who can support us and share knowledge and information and help keep us motivated towards working towards that goal. And those friendships that you build in groups like that can be lasting and can be partnerships in the future. It's really amazing how your life can change by meeting up with like-minded individuals who can support your activities. But sharing your progress is very important. It holds us accountable and it keeps us moving forward. And the idea of getting a coach or joining a group like this may be a real departure from your normal train of thought, but often this departure is necessary to really move you forward. Now, what do I say? If you want to change your life, you got to change your life. You want to get different results? You need to do different things, because where you are right now is 100% the result of the actions that you take every day. You live exactly where you want to live. You have the income you exactly want to have. Because if you weren't there, and that's not the income that you want, and that's not where you want to live, and that's not the life you want to have, you have to change. But if you change, all that stuff will change as well. You can have the life you want. You just need to take the steps to get it. And that means fundamentally moving forward with these recommendations and processes of writing things out, getting involved emotionally in what it is you truly want. I'll tell you what, if you could become a millionaire on your own, you'd probably already be one. So getting help and changing your mindset can be the best avenue to improving every area of your life. And I'm going to support you. I care about you. I'm going to be here with you every day in the coming year. And I'm going to make recommendations, and I'm going to share supporting knowledge that's going to help you make necessary changes that'll help you live the life you want to live. And it doesn't have to be a grand life. It doesn't have to be a billionaire's lifestyle. You could have a good income from a good job and live an average life, but be happy and have a wonderful circumstance, because that's what you want. But that's what you have to decide. What is it that you want? And when you decide what you want, I'm going to help you every single day with knowledge and information to help you get what you want. Because I believe in you, I care about you, and I know if anybody can do it, you can. Now I'm going to be back tomorrow with some really great stuff. I hope you have a beautiful day, friends. Hug your families. Take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow.